All right. I think I made. Is this piece of dog hair? Stuff just follows me everywhere. This isn't dog hair. What is this? Isn't dog hair, is it? I think it is dog hair. Oh, so this upload is going to be of Futurama. Oh God, I forget what. It's season 5. It's episode 7 and 8. 7 is titled Teenage Mutant Leela. Stuff on my lip, and that was 8. That's episode 7. It's titled Teenage Mutant Leela. I'm trying to remember it. And episode 8 is titled The Why of Fry. Now, I guess I'll do 8 first because it's less eventful than 7. 8 basically I'm hoping it explains something in a future episode. I got my hopes up for that because it goes back into an early episode explaining how Fry became frozen. Or I guess the title makes a lot of sense. The Why of Fry. It explains why he was frozen because it's because he's so dim-witted. He can't be affected by these giant brains that want to destroy the universe. Okay, it's a little. This whole premise, if I'm using that word right, is a little bit of a stretch, but this wouldn't be Futurama as a series wouldn't be Futurama without this. I'll admit that. So I'm gonna go wrong with it. I don't necessarily like it though. I think it's kind of maybe it's meant to represent something else, but I can't understand or get what it's trying to represent. It's just giant brains. I don't know what that means. Maybe smart people do stupid things. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is that. But the episode basically follows Fry. No, the episode starts off with Nibbler because we've also found out. Well, we also know that Nibbler is from a planet who wants to save of beings that want to save the universe. They're the saviors of the universe, but they're what's the saying I'm looking for? It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Maybe that's the wrong spread. Maybe it's wrong and right because I think that is associated with something else, but it also can be used in this situation because it's saying something that looks docile and innocent is also, but is also what is actually dangerous. If I get my words out, so I think I'll stick with that one. But so Fry finds out that Nibbler's the one who pushed him in the freezer. And he's like, man, but I could have, would have. I could have lived out my life back in my own time period. But who's to say he would have been happier in his own time period? They didn't paint his life there as being pretty. He has actually a more enriching life, if you will, in the future. So I guess it's just the fact that. I guess just the fact that he was, I don't know, I guess it's just the fact that the character feels like he was present, even though it was shitty, he was present in that time period, but it was his shitty time period, I guess is the best way I can explain it, which isn't too good. And then he turns around and he's like, now he's in the future. But I feel like I said a few moments ago, I feel like he has a more enriched life in the future. He has friends and all this kooky stuff. I think overall it's a better situation for him to be in the future. But I guess at the moment he didn't really feel that. But he winds up having a chance to revert it actually. But he winds up sticking the course and actually sending himself, because he goes back in time to stop himself from being frozen to go into the present, but then he has a change of heart and allows himself to be frozen so he can't come back to the future. that makes sense. I don't know. Now let's go to. I know I did 8 first, but let's go back to 7, which was the professor. He the whole crew decides that the professor is actually too old. So there's a lot of old jokes in there. It's pretty funny. They make fun of Florida too. This is around the time of the election, and not this current election, but we gotta go way back to, I think, the second Bush, the younger Bush. It's just funny saying Bush, but yeah, we have to go back to that presidency and the issues they had with counting ballots. There's a joke in there. I think I gave way too much history. Excuse me. I think I gave way too much history just to get that joke off, just so I can understand the joke. But that's what I was running through my head when I saw that. There's a billboard that they passed by. It says, "Welcome to Florida, known for, what was it? Most known for old people walking catfish and recounting ballots," or something like that. But I thought it was pretty hilarious. But yeah, so professor, they decided to take this professor on this whole journey in order to look younger and feel younger, and they start, of course they do cosmetic surgery. That is what it is. But then, what was it? Oh yeah. He hops in a boiling tar spring or something like that. And the lady's like, "Well, this is known to rejuvenate you by a couple years, such and such, whatever." He's like, ingrow hair is killing me. He's like, "Yeah, man, I don't think so." She's the, I guess the person there is like pumping the well to get the tar flowing. But then Bender's like, what does Bender say? He says something funny. Damn, what does he say? He says everybody knows that. He said something like everybody knows that pumping is just a. I guess he said everybody knows that pumping is just a linear form of bending. So I'm like, what? I think I got it wrong. But he said something funny like that. And then he starts pumping. Of course, he's a robot, so he's able to pump it in a much greater volume than she was, even though she's a being from another. Okay, I'm getting too complicated. I'm making it too complicated. But anyway, it causes the stuff to overflow and turns everybody younger. I mean, really younger. And I think it also gives you a look into the. It also gives you a look into the creators, because they decide to make the professor, when he's younger, of certain time periods, which would be the 60s, 50s. You know what I mean? They're as he's younger he's getting, the closer he's getting towards like the 50s. So I think that's like a look into the age range of the creators, which I could be wrong. I don't know, but they chose the 70s for him when he was younger, and then they threw a lot of stereotypes along with each decade, which I thought was pretty clever. But yeah, in the process, it turns Fry younger, it turns Leela younger, it turns Hermes younger, it turns Dr. Zoidberg younger, it turns Bender younger. So you get to see them in their teenage state. Of course, they're cracking jokes and being silly, but something winds up messing up, and they start going younger and younger. Oh yeah, and Amy also gets turned younger. And when she was younger, she was a chubby kid. I guess it's thought it's funny. Leela, of course, was still a mutant. But oh yeah, Leela gets a chance to go back down and be with her parents and live a kid with her parents. But her parents, they're older. They're probably not going to be the same way they were when they were younger, and they don't care. But she's like, no, you got to be real parents. I guess that's the back and forth in between those characters. And they do the classic stuff. Fry comes down there to take Leela on a date, which I think is hilarious. Let me think what else happens in that episode. What else happens in that episode? I can't think of anything else that happens in that episode. Oh, and basically he's modeled after a crab or crustacean. So as he's reverting back to his younger self, he's going through like basically every form of he's like he's a clam, he's a parasite, he just starts reverting to everything that lives in the ocean. It's like which I think is funny because I think they had to do quite a bit of research to figure all that stuff out. But and a Bender gets braces, which I think is just hilarious. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but I think I like 7 more than I like. What was it, 7? Yeah, I like number 7 more than I like 8. For reasons I stated earlier, because I think 8 is that premise is a little. It's just not my cup of tea. And 8, I really like the look at these characters as teenagers. What I think is, it just adds to the series overall.